Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony with Anthony's Customs, and for this review I want to talk about my favorite set of Fantastic Four figures. These are the Ronin series Marvel Legends Fantastic Four figures. You can get very similar versions in a lighter blue color. You can get the Thing and Mr. Fantastic 2-pack, which I think might have been a Toys R Us exclusive. It's the exact same thing with light blue shorts. Mr. Fantastic is not the same as this one. He's completely different, I believe. But he's got different interchangeable hands, actually. And I think he doesn't have any of the tall body components either. You can also get the light blue Johnny Storm and Sue Storm. It's not the same Sue Storm at all. Johnny Storm is the same, I believe, just with the lighter blue. She's a completely new mold, I think. I'm not sure. I haven't actually purchased that 2-pack because I don't like it. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about these guys. I prefer the dark blue. If you like the dark blue, this is the set of 4 that actually matches. And these are all the single-packed figures from, let's just separate him. Or not, because it doesn't want to. We'll leave him like this. Okay. So these are the ones that match, actually. They're all single-carded figures from the Ronin wave, which is actually a pretty cool wave. It has the best Doctor Doom figure as well, and Mole Man and Silver Surfer. So it's a good set overall. These are the ones I recommend. The dark blue looks the best in my opinion, and they're decent figures. We'll do a quick rundown of each one so you can see what I'm talking about. I really like this Thing figure. It's my favorite one, even though it does have some problems. The head, it's kind of inside a socket for the neck, which looks pretty bad sometimes. When you put the head up, it doesn't look nearly as bad, but it still looks kind of weird having the head recessed into that kind of little pocket. Now he has full rotation to a degree, which means it's not full at all. It just moves side to side like that, but it does have a ratchet that lets go up and down, so it has a good range of movement even though it can't go side to side. The eyes are painted fairly nicely in there, and overall there's great texturing in the or shading in the paintwork on him. The sculpt is pretty good. I don't like the fact that the torso here is a brighter orange than the arms and the legs, but it's not that noticeable in person. I'm not sure how much you can see it in the camera. He has standard ball jointed shoulders with a bicep swivel, single jointed elbow, full 90 degrees, so that's nice, and he has a wrist pivot. His joints are really tight, and individually articulated fingers, so that's really nice. Same thing on both sides. No torso articulation. He does have a waist twist. He has wide joint ball hips with a thigh swivel built in, single jointed knee, ankle pivot, ankle rocker, and a toe pivot. So overall, for being a bulky character, he has pretty good articulation, and due to the sculpting, it's pretty well hidden. It's a really nice looking display figure, I would say, and as I mentioned, it's my favorite version of the Thing. So definitely recommend that one. As for Sue Storm, this is not my favorite version of her. She looks kind of goofy. It's not a bad job with the face, but it's just kind of weak, and her outfit's kind of ugly. So I do probably recommend other versions of her, if not for the fact, or that's not what I meant to say. The problem with other versions is they don't match. If you want to have a team that matches, you have to get this version if you're going with the dark blue. A lot of people go with the light blue because of the better version of her and the different version of Mr. Fantastic, but like I said, if you want dark blue, this is the way to go. She has the, let's start with the head. The head moves up and down just a little bit, rotates just a little bit. I mean, technically it's there, but the hair gets in the way. The hair is done pretty well. It has some nice shading on it and some decent sculpt work. The face is okay, in my opinion, not great. Shoulder articulation is the Hasbro type of shoulder where it's got the swivel there, it's got the disc joint there, no bicep swivel, single jointed elbow with the swivel in there. Basically it's the same thing as the female shield agent for the arm. And then she has a wrist rotation with a wrist pivot or hinge. Same torso joint as Shanna, and actually it's pretty much the same as the shield agent too, just slightly different sculpt. It rotates. It does have a a little bit better ab crunch ability than some of the other similarly articulated figures, so that's nice. She does have ball jointed hips, but they are at a Y joint. The thigh swivel is built in. Single jointed knee with the rotation like that. I think, well, never mind, we'll not even bother. The foot rotates like that and has the pivot. The shoes are sculpted a little bit at the bottom. You can see the sole, but they're just pretty much lacking detail all around. She's a pretty bland figure, and the paintwork is kind of sloppy on her. So if it wasn't for matching the team, I wouldn't recommend this figure. Johnny Storm, we've seen this body used a few times. He overall is a really nice figure. There are 2 complaints I have. Well, let's go with 3. First complaint is this region. He's got a really long lower torso. It's way too tall. It should be shrunken down. The belt should be removed and pushed. The whole body should be pushed down and then enlarged. Second problem, I don't like his face sculpt very much. It's close to being good, but it's just it gets really pointy at the top of the head. Third complaint is the fiery hair. It just looks terrible. It's the wrong color. It's a goofy shape. It looks like Play-Doh hair. I don't like it at all. Otherwise, it's a really good figure. The translucent fire around him goes really nicely with the dark blue. It's really nice that they actually made it translucent. The hair should have been the same way. There is a different, it's kind of a variant of this guy. It's from the Ares wave. He's all translucent and cool looking, so that's a really nice figure. As far as articulation goes, his head moves just a little bit forward and backwards, full side to side movement. Shoulders, standard ball joint shoulders with a bicep swivel, double joint elbow, wrist rotation, and wrist pivot. Pretty decent ab crunch, waist twist, Y jointed ball hips with the thigh swivel built in, double jointed knees, ankle rotation, and ankle pivot. Mr. Fantastic now is, I like this figure personally because it's so unique. The other one's more of a standard figure, so I prefer this one, and since it is the dark blue, it worked out nicely for me. He stands 11.5 inches tall. We'll do the heights real quick. I don't think I did that yet. He stands 6 1/4. He stands, well, if you go to the fire, 6 1/2. You can't even see what I'm doing. I'm sorry about that. Johnny Storm stands 6 1/2 if you go to the top of the fire. Just about 6 to the top of the head. The Thing stands at 6 1/4. And the Invisible Woman stands at 6. Okay, back to Mr. Fantastic. He has a fully articulated head, so great rotation forward and backward, side to side, full thing there. Ball jointed shoulders like Mrs. Fantastic. No bicep swivel at all. There's no articulation in the arm at all. It is bendable though. It's not that bendable, but it is bendable. The finger is individually articulated, but it's not bendable on its own. So the hands are kind of useless. Same thing on this side. It does have the ratcheted disc joint in the shoulder, but that's about it. He has an ab crunch, which is nice. He has this bendable torso, but it's not actually very bendable. It's supposed to be, but it's so stiff and plastic, it's kind of useless. He has a waist twist, and he has the Hasbro style hips. Well, it's actually the same as the shoulder. It doesn't have anything but the disc joint that spins around. It is a Y joint. No bendability here, it's solid plastic. And then the knee, single jointed knee, it rotates like that. No bendability here either. The boot is sculpted here, but it's kind of weird because it's really like geometric shaped. I don't know why they did that. There's a lot of sharp angles on it. I don't get that at all. And then the foot has the pivot there with the rotation. And it's kind of a nice foot, I guess. It has the sculpt of the boot a little bit better than some of the other ones, but it's still overall pretty bland. So I guess when it boils down to it, or when you get down to it, or whatever you want to say, Mr. Fantastic and Mrs. Fantastic aren't the best figures of their character, but if you want to get the dark blue, you have to get these guys. And they're not bad, they're just not great. I personally prefer the dark blue. The light blue might be the way to go for you, but I don't have them, so I can't show you. So do I recommend them? I do, but the other ones might be for you just as much, so it's really going to have to be your call. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for one more video today, and in the meantime, keep collecting.